Everybody, it's your boy D from DNT Digital. Sorry, I'm just a little bit late, but here we are back on the road to Mission Pro Wrestling Tournament Out of Hell, where they will be. Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Would be starting the tournament to find out what's up, Randy. To find out who will be the first Mission Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion, pretty much, and it's exciting, and I'm excited to be a part of this. So what we're gonna do? There it is. Okay. So today's Lacey Ryan. Hey, what's going on, Randy? And here she comes, coming in.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just waiting for your video to pop up.
What is going on? So, it's not popping up at all?
No, it's not. But it's Rosa. What's going on?
It shows that I'm on,
There
and
you
I
are.
can see
Okay.
myself. Okay.
There you are. Okay, now we see. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for giving us the time here to talk about, for those that, might not be familiar with you, we can talk about your career and what we should expect at the Mission Pro Wrestling show. Um, One thing I always like to ask, wrestlers during the pandemic, how did that affect you? Besides the obvious and not being able to have matches, I saw you continued training, but mentally,
Yeah.
did it do something to you that you weren't able to just go out there and perform in front of a live crowd?
Yeah, it did get to me mentally. It was very tough. I mean, geez, what, 6 months of just trying to figure out what to do with yourself and trying my best to stay in shape and everything. But luckily, Joe DeFalco, who's the owner of FSW, as well as another guy named Rocky, they gave my husband and I a key, and we've been going in almost on a daily basis, and we were just training ourselves and trying to stay in the best ring shape possible. You know?
So I know fitness and working out is very important to you. Um,
Yeah.
even as somebody driven as yourself, how is it difficult to maintain that mentality of going back into the gym?
As of right now, or when the
Yeah, as of,
pandemic.
as of right now with the pandemic and everything.
No, because I'm so happy it's back open, I mean, it's really my therapy. If I don't have the gym, I start going crazy. And that's part of the thing that was very hard during the pandemic. But for me, I'm up, I get my cardio done, come back and eat, and I just go straight to the gym. There's no questions about it. Every single day, I just want to go and do it. Especially it's a lot easier too when you start seeing progress. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It makes it a lot easier to want to keep going back and want to see more progress. So,
So I was watching your videos, and you do have some innovative offense. Can you explain how you came up with your finisher? Because your finisher is sick. And if you can, just explain it for the people out there watching.
so there's this guy that I will not name. He was helping me out with a few things because I wanted a new finisher. I wanted something unique, and something popped in his head to where it first started out in a normal cradle. And then he
Okay.
was saying try to flip them that way with my hand placement still the same, doing that. But it was really throwing out my back at that point. So I just usually I decided to put them down and have them jump up with me into a flip where they just land on their feet and eat the knee. But it came from this other guy who he just had this vision pretty much, and he passed it along to me. So I'm not the one that came up with it. He's the one that helped me out. With the beginning stages, the ending stages is what I came up with of what just seemed to fit for me.
Yeah,
So that flip,
you have a sick, it's like a blockbuster neck breaker from the top rope, and
yes, I do have that one too. Yeah.
you have that finisher, and you have these amazing super kicks. And just to go back to your fitness and working out, you mentioned that it was about therapy, and in one post on your social media, you said that you did it to build confidence. Can you go
Yeah.
back to before you started working out, and what kind of lack of confidence you did have, and what propelled you to start working out?
So, growing up, I moved around a lot and all over the Inland Empire. That's, I was born in California, born and raised. And at some point, about when I was 12, my parents split. So my mom moved down to Utah. My dad was staying in California. And I was moving a lot just between the two of them. I felt bad that I would leave one parent and stay with them for a little bit and then go to the other parent because I felt bad that parent was by themselves. I do have a younger brother as well, so we kind of split off, right? So I think that was probably the beginning stages, but I've always been shy. That's always the hardest thing for me is just to get out and talk and do, just open up. And so I think once that happened, I really started to go into a shell. And in high school, I was, just staying in my room. I should say in high school, I was living in San Bernardino in a pretty rough area. So my dad did not want me going outside or anything. So I would stay inside, watch TV, play video games, and eat all day. So I was really out of shape, did not feel great. And it felt like I was, pretty much being bullied in a way without even really bullied. You know what I mean? Like when somebody kind of gives you a look, you kind of get that feeling of, okay, this person's, so I was getting that feeling a lot. So, and that was more than likely just my insecurities. And so once I got out of high school, I knew I wanted to wrestle, moved down to Utah back with my mother and my stepfather. And my stepfather was a bodybuilder. And he's the one that really gave me all the tools of how to eat properly, what to do with certain machines, how to do certain movements with free weights and cables. So he's the one that really started the whole journey for me. He's the one that really got me into everything. And once he taught me these basics, that's when I was really studying. I don't know if you heard like Dana Lynn Bailey. I don't know if you know of her.
No,
She's an Olympic champion, one of the first females in physique, I believe. I don't remember, so I'm probably not right. But she, if you go up and look her up, she's the person that puts all these workouts online, and I follow every single day what she does, and I do exactly the same thing. So if there's any new movements that you see me doing, it's not mine. It's this girl, Dana Bailey. But, that's pretty much how I got into it, just because of these insecurities and always staying in my room and everything, watching wrestling 24/7. And I wanted to change that. I couldn't live my life staying like that,
So you mentioned your stepfather being a very instrumental in getting you to eat right and work out. You have a really cool post where you give a lot of credit to your father, your stepfather, and your grandfather.
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about your father and your grandfather that also, is very instrumental to who you are today?
You know what? My father is a very, very hard worker. God, he did so much for me. So in high school, because I moved around so much, I did not want to go to a school in San Bernardino. I wanted to go to a school in Corona. And have you ever been to California?
I have been, only Bakersfield.
Okay. So between Corona and San Bernardino, that's about an hour and a half drive, depending on traffic. So what my dad would do, just to make sure that I could go to the school that I wanted to go to with some of my elementary school friends. And remember, I moved around a lot. So there was only a few people that I was really close to. So my dad would wake up at 3 a.m., wake me up, say, hey, okay, I'm going to go drop you off at your friend's house. And that was an hour for him to drive. So he would drop me off about 4 a.m. and then drive all the way back down to San Bernardino just to start work again. So he was always working the truck drive now, and he did so much for me, as a kid, showing me what hard work is. He's amazing. And then my grandfather, he's another guy that's taught me so much in my life that I use today. I mean, both of these guys, I just have to thank them every single day. They're amazing, and I look up to them, and I hope I make them proud one day, as well as my stepfather.
That's cool. That's so cool to hear. So they say you end up becoming your parents. When I had my daughter, I ended up, my mom worked a lot, and my dad wasn't around, so I got my work ethic from my mother. But I am who I am because of my grandparents. I stayed with them, So I remember saying things to my daughter that my grandmother would say to me when I was like being a little badass. So,
Sure.
Who in the wrestling world, raised you? Who was your main trainer, and do you see yourself mirroring that person in the ring?
Yeah, Tom Howard. I married Tom Howard to a T. I don't know if you guys know him. I mean, in Japan, he did a lot of great things, and he did some stuff with WWE. He was a part of UPW with Rick Bassman and one of the top trainers there. But that's his move. He's my partner. You know, we're not officially married, but we say that we're married.
Right.
So he's the guy that's been training me for 8 years now. And, you know, I have him watch every single thing that I do, have him listen to every single thing that I do, and he'll sit there and critique it. He's a really big fan of making sure that wrestling looks as real as possible. So everything I do inside that ring, I want to make sure that it looks real. I used his blockbuster, the one where I up on the turnbuckle, flip and, you know, land on my back. He's the one that started that. So I just took that from him because I wanted something to, you know, take after him. So all the kicks, punches, strikes, and pretty much any move, I make sure I go through him first, make sure he thinks it's good enough. And I'm like, cool, you like it? I like it. All right, good. I'll keep it in my little arsenal.
So you talk about, you know, making sure that wrestling looks real. And I actually have the network playing right now, and I have it on all day in the background when I'm doing anything. It's just playing. I'm binging WrestleManias right now. So
Awesome.
I was born in the 80s. I was born in 86, but I would say that I'm a 90s kid. You know, so
Sure.
I did, you know, the rock and wrestling era, and Hogan and Savage and Warrior and Legion of Doom, you know, Flair and, you know, all those greats in the early 90s. So when I go back and I watch this stuff, as a kid, I'm like, hey, Legion of Doom and Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. Now I go back and I watch this stuff and I'm like, wow, I'm seeing everything making sense. With the exception of a few things, fine. But I see everything being told. I see the story and the facial expressions and, you know, in every little move that they do, the story is being told. Do you feel like that art is lost in the excitement of big spots and the oohs and the ahs in professional wrestling now?
There are times when I watch wrestling, I wish that they would slow down and really take these moments in with the facials and, you know, just kicking out when it's a falsy, you know, getting that facial reaction like, oh, crap, this person, you know, kicked out of this move. What am I going to do next? You know, it's still acting. So I do feel like we should still keep that in there, and I feel like it is sometimes lost. And, you know, I'd really like to see that come back again, you know? I make a really big point when I'm in my matches of calling not just moves, but emotions as well. And that's something that I learned from Tessa Blanchard. When I did my match with her, instead of just calling the next move, she would say, get angry. Okay, I'm going to go get angry. Hit the next move. Okay, go to the fans and, you know, get them excited. You know, these are all different things that she's taught me, and I make sure that I put into my match from here on out.
You had a champion versus champion match with Tessa Blanchard.
Yes.
And so Tessa Blanchard, for those that don't know, is the daughter of Tully Blanchard, who was one of the Four Horsemen. And she became Impact World Heavyweight Champion. You know, first woman to ever hold the title, first woman to ever hold a world championship. So she took a lot of big steps for women in wrestling. Now, without getting into detail, because this is just going to lead into my next question, without getting into detail, she got into some controversy, and I feel like that's just a black cloud that's over her. Is there something to be said about controversy and sensationalism taking over what the person can do in the ring as far as their career trajectory goes?
I mean, it's sad that there is a black cloud around her. You know, she's an amazing person, and she's been nothing but sweet to me, and I have nothing but good things to say to her. And to have people kind of hold that over her head is, you know, people make mistakes in life. Whether it's true or not, people always do that. At what point do we kind of say, okay, you made a mistake, you learn from it, you grow from it, you know, let's continue your career and let's see what else you could do, which is exactly what she's doing. She's doing a great job with everything that she's doing right now, and I'm very excited to see what she does in the future. I'm very excited to see her next step.
Why do you think people click on those headlines instead of appreciating what a person can do in the ring?
I don't know.
So as a professional wrestler,
sometimes, you know.
No, as a professional wrestler and a public figure, do you feel like the bigger you get, the less mistakes you're allowed?
Damn, that's a pretty deep question. Yeah, I guess so. Because when certain wrestlers make a mistake, it's like they're blacklisted, you know? And like I said, we all make mistakes and we all learn and we all grow. And that's all anybody can really ask for. Nobody's perfect, you
No, yeah,
know?
it's always
So,
something that I spoke with Al Snow, and it was right around the time that Marty Jannetty was on Facebook saying a bunch of stuff, and he was like, I haven't been able to talk to him. I just feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, nobody's talking about Marty Jannetty until that happened, and
sure.
fans are just looking for those controversial headlines, and it's a thing of human nature that's just strange for me. That wasn't like the only black cloud above wrestling. There's a lot of really sad stories coming out earlier this year about female wrestlers getting into incidents, becoming victims of abuse, and these sick dudes taking advantage of them. And we won't get too much into that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
after that happened, did that strengthen the sisterhood in professional wrestling?
definitely. Yeah, we're all very close now in women all over. I think that really strengthened everybody, not just females, but males. I think males are more aware now too, as far as how to approach certain females. It's a different world. It's not the same place that it was 20, 30 years ago. And men being more sensitive to it in wrestling is amazing. I'm happy to see that.
What kind of support did you get from male wrestlers? Even just reaching out and just saying, "I'm with you guys. I'm with the movement." Did you get any good response out of all that?
I pretty much stayed away from all that. I didn't have any real, anything to really say. But everything that I saw just at FSW, we all had a meeting, a really important meeting, and everybody understood, and the males felt bad, and some of the women stood up and shared their stories, and it just made us all closer as a family. You know.
So, what is there to be said about Thunder Rosa and Mission Pro Wrestling and what they want to do for women in the future of professional wrestling?
Thunder Rosa is amazing. I love watching her stuff and seeing her take women's wrestling to the next level. I think it's going to be a really big step for women's wrestling, especially, she's done a lot so far. She's owned several other promotions, but I'm really excited to make my debut at Mission Pro Wrestling because I feel like it's going to be a big one.
Definitely. So, pro wrestling wasn't the only sport that you did. You went on to say that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the most humbling and empowering thing that a person can do. Can you tell me about your experience in that sport and what you learned from it?
Yeah. So I was living in Frisco, Texas for a little bit, and I did sub wrestling for about a year, and during that year, I decided to take up MMA, and I went over to Chris Brennan's school. He was in the UFC and a great teacher, and he, jiu-jitsu is just a hard sport in general. If you have a big ego going into jiu-jitsu, it's not going to work out well for you because as soon as you get on that mat, you're getting tapped out, and it's a very humbling experience as far as you realize that you're not always going to win, whether it's a real fight or not. It's a hard thing to overcome, So learning all these different techniques it's fun, but it does teach you some real life experiences of how to get over something too.
That's so cool. Hey, so you had a really cool post that I saw, and it goes into what this person's role is in professional wrestling. You did a couple of practice matches, and one particular practice match you did, Marty Elias was the referee for it. And
Yeah,
the mere fact that you did a post on it, told us about your respect for him. And is there any story that sticks out about Marty Elias? And can you also tell us how important the role is of the referee in a wrestling match?
Oh, the role of a referee is very important. And I don't think a lot of wrestlers on the indies understand that all the time. Obviously a lot of them do, but there are some that do take refs for granted as well. The ref is a part of the story. He's a part of the show. He makes everything exciting as well. But Marty Elias came out and he he stayed with us for a few days, and it was just very interesting to hear all of his stories that he had to tell because he has a lot of them. So I don't have any real specific story of him coming, anything that we did, but we hung out on the strip, showed him around Vegas for a little bit. But he has a lot of knowledge, not just with wrestling, but with wrestling as well, with, the athletic parts of it. So he knows what he's talking. And if you could ever get critiques from him, definitely take it in because he's great at that kind of stuff.
Anybody in the chat, you guys can totally ask questions. AD4021, can you defeat Bianca Belair?
We'll have to see when that happens, right?
Definitely. Can you talk about your experience in Impact Wrestling? You wrestled Jordan Grace, and can you tell us about the production behind it and what the morale was backstage?
Everybody was fantastic there, all very nice and respectful. The production was great. I mean, Impact Wrestling was a very fun place, and it was a great place to learn and grow, and I think that was a big stepping stone for me with my wrestling because it's taught me so much doing that. Indie wrestling and TV wrestling are two completely different things. I mean, it's two different ball games, So once I did Impact Wrestling, I realized what I really needed to focus on if I wanted to get onto that next level. So that's all I've been really doing is focusing on what I want to do, working for the cameras and stuff. So they showed me, some of the basics of how to work TV wrestling, and it's always fun,
So what can people expect from Lacey Ryan on November 6th for Mission Pro Wrestling Tournament at Hell?
Hard hitting, a lot of high flying, and don't think that, she's wrestlers are going to be able to beat me because it's not going to happen. I want that title around my waist, man.
What can that mean for you? You've been a champion before, but what would it mean for you to be the first champion of what in my opinion is a historic promotion for women's wrestling?
I mean, it's mind-boggling. When I got the call from Thunder Rosa saying that she would love to have me on the show and have me wrestle for this belt in the tournament, I was completely blown away. And I'm very humbled that she would call me and ask me to join in on the roster. So I'm very excited to be with these girls, and hopefully I win that belt. And if I do, which crossing my fingers I do, there's really no words of what I can say on how much that would really mean to me. To be the first champion of that promotion, it would mean a lot.
Ryan Romano would like to know your preference between TV matches or independent shows.
TV matches.
You feel like it's more of a learning experience and keeping your knives sharp, as they say.
Yeah. All the girls on TV, I mean, they're amazing and they really help me grow. And, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to get to. I want to be on TV,
What do you want people to walk away with after that show? After the last bell is rang and thank everybody and the crowd is going home, that car ride home, what do you want them to say to each other?
I just want this match, the show to be a memorable show. I want it to be something that they tell their grandchildren. I don't know exactly what I want them to talk about. Hopefully it's my match. Hopefully I make a great impression on them, and that's what they're talking about. But the show in general, there's a lot of great women on this card, and I think it will be exciting for everybody watching on who's making that next step towards that tournament.
AD4021, what is your max on squats?
Oh, squats, I don't do very much. I'm not a big fan of squats personally, just because, I used to do the frog splash and it started hurting my knees. So anytime I do squats, I kind of just keep it lightweight and do more reps. So I don't really have a 1 rep max on that one.
Do you, it's shoulders that you enjoy the most, right?
Yes, I love shoulders. Absolutely love it.
Everybody in the chat, please just ask normal questions, please. Ryan Romano, crowd is going to be blown away by Lacey's match with Bert and the entire show. I know I'm going to be marking out in the front row. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. So just let them know where they can find you on social media.
If you just type in Lacey Ryan 94, I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and those are the two best places to keep up with me.
Awesome. And you can find me at DNC Digital on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're following Lacey, follow me. My name is right here. If you're following me, follow Lacey. Her name is right there. And this is also going to be on YouTube, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is D for DNC Digital. I am a proud sponsor of Mission Pro Wrestling. Tournament Out of Hell happening November 6th in Buda, Texas at Pinball's Kingdom. If you can't go there live, or if you're not comfortable, it's fine. You guys can watch it on the Title Match Network. But just to let you know, guidelines are being strictly followed. Social distancing, masks are required. But it's gonna be an awesome show. Oh, Ryan Romano would like to know, what is the significance of the 94 in your social media?
Oh, my birth year.
Oh, awesome. When's your birthday?
Born 1994, January 25th.
Oh, okay. So you are the 20. Man, I need to. I'm older than all of you guys. Okay. So I'm gonna wish everybody a great night. Make sure you go out and vote. Be nice to each other. Lacey Ryan, thank you so much. I will see you at the show. Everybody, have a great night.
Sounds good. Have a great night, guys.